I don't know why, but maybe there's the social expectation. I certainly feel like there is a social expectation that this time of the year, whatever we talk about, whatever topic we choose, it should be fun, it should be happy, it should be cheery and holiday-ish in some form. And there's some things brewing in my head that I just thought, they don't feel like they fall into that category. But I think they're important. And they're important because when I think about this holiday season, it is more than a holiday. It's a holy season where we think about the Christ coming. The focus was on those who had been left out, those who were in the margins, the immigrant and the poor. And there's a reason why the shepherds hear the message first, and there's a reason why Mary and Joseph aren't rich and wealthy and don't have the baby in a palace. All of those are statements about where the heart of God was in this invitation into salvation. Not that people of wealth didn't matter, but that God had this soft spot for those who were struggling. And I was thinking about this concept of Black Lives Matter and the word that is often used about privilege. And now I know at this point you're going to start thinking, can we turn them off now? Yeah, you can. But if you'll just humor me. Sometimes when we hear the word privilege, we think, well, sure, I may be white, but I'm not privileged. I'm not wealthy. I don't have a palace. I don't have political power. But I don't think that's what we mean by privilege when we talk about the immigrant and the minority and Black Lives Matter. And I think what we mean is something different. And I think that the easiest way I can maybe talk about it this season of God coming down and caring for the shepherds and Mary and Joseph and those having babies in really lowly places like the stable of 2,000 years ago is this way. It's been really kind of interesting to watch television and hear people talk about their struggles. And there's two particular groups that I hear talking about their struggles. And one of those groups, whether it's radio or podcast or television, are women who have had to leave their work. And they say, I've had to leave my work to take care of my family. And this is going to set me back a lot. It's going to change the whole trajectory, possibly, of my life, my retirement. I may lose possible opportunities to move into management because now my resume is going to say she took a year off to go be a mom. And the second group I've heard spoken about are students who say, maybe they say it, maybe their parents say it, maybe the teacher says it, maybe the administrators, they say things like this: this year of education online is going to set our students back a decade. And when I heard those stories, I don't know, it just kind of triggered something in me in which I started to think, well, if we're worried about our students losing a year of education, and if we're concerned about women who, because they have to take a year or two off, are going to lose maybe a lifetime of earnings and and job possibilities. Now imagine this. And this is what Black Lives Matter is saying. Imagine when for a generation or two or three, your family has not had access to certain jobs, hasn't had access to certain types of education or college, couldn't live in a certain side of town, didn't even have freedom. And how that sets us back. And we're not talking about, oh, that happened 1 year. We're talking about that happened for generations. That loss of privilege, I think, is the loss of privilege that people of color are talking about. We all suffer. We all have bad days and bad years, but it is different when you have a group of people who have had a generation or two without freedom, where they couldn't buy a house in a particular place or go to a particular school or have a particular job. And that has happened generation after generation. And it does affect how you begin to think about yourself. And it begins to affect your dreams and your hopes. So in this season of holidays and holy days, I just hope that you'll think about that not everybody has had the opportunities that we've all had. I'm a person of color. I've been blessed. I consider myself a person of privilege. Life has dealt me some good opportunities. Maybe I was standing in the right place at the right time. But for a lot of people of color, that is not their story. And this season, I still remember that Jesus cares about those struggling people who are like the shepherds 2,000 years ago, just doing their work, getting paid very little. But God thought, this Jesus, they're the ones who need to know about this Jesus because they need hope. And I think we as people, as neighbors, as community, can provide that hope to each other. If you have a little bit of privilege, like me, let's find a way to do what Jesus did some 2,000 years ago and bring hope and dreams and possibilities to people who don't have the privileges we have.